We're going to win this state, and we are going to win 4 more beautiful years in the White House.
In these final days, we got to keep our sense of empowerment here, a sense of optimism, what we can do together.
America's Choice. I'm Adrienne Pedersen. Today on Up Front. Less than 48 hours now until Election Day. Next, our political strategist, Democrat Joe Zepecki and Republican Brian Reisinger on what polls tell us about the race and could there be a surprise coming? Plus, the state's top election official on what voters can expect to see at the polls Tuesday.
Taking on the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Up Front with your host, Adrienne Pedersen.
Thank you for joining us. Here we are, the final days of campaign 2020. Years in the making, and it all comes down to Tuesday. The candidates, their running mates, and their surrogates have been all over the state. President Trump has made 3 visits in a little more than a week, the latest being Friday in Green Bay.
Joe Biden will shut down your state's economy, wipe out your factories, ship your jobs to China. To China that's paid them off, by the way.
Former Vice President Joe Biden appeared in Milwaukee Friday as well.
Trade policy. My God, what a disaster he's been. Trump's trade policy has decimated, devastated the Wisconsin dairy industry.
Vice President Mike Pence was in Mosinee Wednesday.
Well, hello, Wisconsin!
It's all building to a big finish, and we're talking about the campaign's closing days with 2 political communications strategists. We have Republican Brian Reisinger, who worked on Senator Ron Johnson's campaign, and Democrat Joe Zepecki, a veteran of President Obama's campaign. So good to see you both. Really big weekend here in Wisconsin. I want to start with the polls because these are looking really different now. I'm sure you both have seen the ABC News Washington Post poll showing the former vice president with a 17-point margin in Wisconsin, but the Marquette poll says it's 5. Both campaigns visiting here on Friday, which makes me believe maybe they think it's close, or why would they be here? But I want to know what you think. Joe, we'll start with you.
Well, I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. The interesting thing to me has been I had more than one Republican after that 17-point poll come out and say, oh, please, that's the only way to end Trumpism and make sure that President Trump doesn't just lose, but he doesn't run again in 4 years, or one of his sons or his daughter doesn't run. An overwhelming defeat for Joe Biden is probably the best thing for the long-term health of the Republican Party, given all of the trend lines we're seeing.
What do you think, Brian? Where is the real truth here with these polls being so different?
Yeah, well, we shouldn't be surprised to see polls providing a wide range of results. And we also shouldn't be surprised if those polls end up being a little bit off when we get closer to the ballot box itself. There are a lot of Republicans who feel that the race is closer than what the polls show. You see that partially already with Marquette showing a much closer race than a lot of the kind of crazy outlier national polls.
Do you think it's closer than even Marquette says, Brian?
Well, I think that there are Republicans who feel that way based off of when you're talking with the grassroots, the energy on the ground, the intel that they have. I think certainly there's a sense that there's a possibility that it's closer. I think that Republicans, there's no question in this election, are in search of that silent majority. These are people who aren't necessarily coming through in the polls, and they certainly don't come through in the national media narrative. People that feel as though the president has the country heading in the right direction on the economy. They agree with him on the issues. And there is strong intensity in the Republican base in a way that really blows past what you would usually see in a race that tends to be tilting in one direction. So it's a very different race, and it's a very strange time right now in our politics, and people shouldn't be surprised, and they certainly shouldn't be writing off Wisconsin.
I want to dig in a little bit to this poll. With the Marquette poll, it shows President Trump with 87% support of Republicans. Is that enough when we consider the president's narrow win here in 2016?
Well, there's certainly no room for error. The president has very strong support numbers within the Republican Party. The other thing that number doesn't necessarily reflect is also the intensity. What is the propensity of people to vote? The intensity that is felt on the Republican side for President Trump is very, very strong. So he's certainly unified the Republican Party in a very big way since 2016, which builds his support, obviously. But also those people who know they're going to vote for the president, it's a very intense feeling.
And Joe, I want to ask you a different question. The former vice president has support from Democrats in the mid-90s, according to the poll. But if we look back again at 2016, which seems to be the only way to measure, Milwaukee was not good to Hillary Clinton in 2016. Do you think Joe Biden will do better?
Yes, I think comparing 2020 to 2016 is a little like comparing apples to elephant carts. They're just not the same. You have an incumbent president, you have a global pandemic, you have a record of what President Trump has done or not done, and that changes everything. The reality is that Democrats are enthused and fired up, and Donald Trump is getting fewer Democrats than Joe Biden is Republicans, and Joe Biden appears to be winning independents. So it looks to me like Wisconsin and the American people have decided to fire President Trump. Now they actually have to go out and do it, though. The polls don't vote. You got to follow through on the rejection, or it all goes up in smoke.
And Joe, what parts of the state are you really watching closely on Tuesday?
The suburbs and Northeast Wisconsin. We've heard it time and time again that President Trump is struggling in the suburbs. Does that pan out? Up in Northeast, as Brian knows, that's been a very strong region of the state for Republicans, really going back the last decade. If Vice President Biden can get 43, 44, 45% in the Northeast part of the state, that makes it really hard for President Trump to win based on where the rest of the votes are statewide.
Brian, what about you? When you're watching the results come in Tuesday, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I would agree that the suburbs are going to matter, particularly in Southeast Wisconsin. I think that one of the important things to note there is that while there are folks in sort of affluent suburban areas where Democrats have been able to eat into Republican margins, there are also parts of those suburbs, particularly in the conservative Wow counties, where there are a lot of traditional Republicans, a lot of working class and middle class folks who still strongly support Republicans and the president. That's where some of that intensity that I'm talking about comes from. So I think it'll be interesting to see what the mix is in those suburbs. But the other thing that's going to matter is the rural outstate vote. So the Republican recipe here is to make sure that Republicans don't let Democrats eat further into the suburbs, which has been happening as more liberal folks are moving into out of Milwaukee and into places like Wauwatosa. But it's also about making sure that strong rural Republican coalition overperforms. And I think that a lot of the national pundits, as well as the Democrats, are depending upon the hope that there isn't more votes in Republican rural areas. And I think that there's more upside. So the trick is, can Republicans maximize that upside while holding the Democrats in the suburbs?
To the extent to which anyone could predict a surprise, Brian, what should we expect in terms of a surprise? Do you see anything?
Well, I think that it's going to be interesting to see what places like Kenosha do after everything that area has been through. I think that there's a lot of pockets of Wisconsin, Southwest Wisconsin rural areas. They're always very interesting to watch. I think that in general, there's no question that Republicans are in the hunt for an upset here. And again, I think they're hunting for that silent majority. I think that the Republican effort to elect President Trump will lead to a massive rethinking of polling should the polls end up being off this year as they were in 2016, just because they would be further off and more flawed in a variety of ways. So that would be quite a surprise that I think would reteach a lesson that the national pundits were taught in 2016.
Joe, what do you think? Any surprises heading our way?
I think the surprise is going to be down ballot, particularly in the state assembly. Republicans are going to lose some seats. Wisconsinites have soured on President Trump, and they are holding Republicans locally accountable for that, in part because they've sort of taken the same hands-off approach to the coronavirus. Robin Vos and Republicans in the legislature are going to lose some seats, which is a far cry from where we were 6-8 months ago when Republicans in the legislature were aiming for a supermajority. They will admit that is basically off the table right now. It's a question of how many Republicans do they lose.
And I want to get a final prediction from both of you. So here's what we want to know. Who do you think will take the state when it comes to the presidential race? By how much? And how late or how early will we be awake watching this until? So, Joe, you go first.
I don't think we're going to know definitively about Wisconsin until Wednesday morning. At the earliest, we need to allow time for every vote to be counted. Red, blue, or somewhere in the middle. Everybody who is eligible to vote and cast a vote should have that vote counted. I do think when all the ballots are counted, Joe Biden will win. I don't know that he'll match the Obama margins, but it'll be by more than a couple of points.
Okay, Brian, what about you? Final say here.
I do think that waiting is going to be part of the game here, particularly in some of these Midwestern states. As far as the outcome, predictions are always dangerous in Wisconsin. Anybody trying to predict that is always bouncing on a knife's edge. What I would say is that I think that President Trump has a clear path here, if he's able to maximize that rural vote and minimize Democrat incursion into the suburbs. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, Joe Zepecki and Brian Reisinger, thank you both. I appreciate it. We are getting close now. Vote counting starts at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Next, we'll check in with the state's top election official to ask questions top of mind for voters. And later, the Wisconsin county with one of the closest electoral outcomes in 2016. Matt Smith asked people there to sound off on the 2020 race for president.